Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video, we're gonna break down the best tips and tricks for visiting Disneyland Park. So we're actually in the park recording this video. We're gonna be jumping around a lot. So if you are in the process of planning a Disneyland vacation, specifically if you're coming to Disneyland Park, be sure to stick around till the end of this video. As always, I'm very excited, so let's go get started. All right, so tip and trick number one when visiting Disneyland Park, and this one was an easy one. We would say make sure to arrive early. Now, there's a couple different ways that you could tackle this, but just as a general rule of thumb, right, we would say arrive around 7:30. So I'm here, it's actually 7:15, and you could see it's pretty busy behind me, but they're just allowing guests to get into the park. You can't go on a ride just yet, but you can jump in there, you can hang out on Main Street, grab a coffee, take in the sights, get those pictures in right before you get your day started. But we would say, really, worst case, end up around 7:30 I would get here. Now, jumping into the rides, there are a couple different ways that you can tackle this. I would say if you're visiting with small kids, right, you could go and you could tackle essentially Fantasyland, get all of those rides out of the way. There's a couple that come to mind. Peter Pan, also Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is a brand new ride here in the parks, which we might talk about in a little bit. But you can go, you could tackle pretty much all the rides in Fantasyland. If you have older kids, right, you might want to go over to Indiana Jones and essentially tackle all the rides over in Adventureland. And then for my Star Wars fans, you might want to go and rope drop Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Those are just some ideas. If you do need a little additional help, or if you need some custom park plans, of course, just go check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. So another tip and trick, specifically when visiting Disneyland, and this park is going to be, some of the tips are going to be similar to California Adventure. For this one, we're saying, consider staying at an official Disneyland hotel. Now, Disney has 3 official Disney hotels here at the Disneyland Resort, but the reason why we're saying consider staying at them, especially if you're the type of family that loves getting up early and rope dropping, is Disney hotels do give guests early entry. That's even before, right, entry for regular park guests. So essentially you'll get an extra half hour in the morning to get as many rides out of the way as possible. And this is similar to Disney World, but again, in our opinion, because there's only 3 hotels, there's such a bigger advantage to Disneyland, right? And we feel like you'll get on that many more rides just because there's gonna be so many less guests in the park who are going on rides with you. So you'll see you bang them out one after another, and then at that point your day is pretty much set up that much more conveniently. The other thing that's really cool is if you could see behind me, pretty much there's the walking path to the hotels, and that's essentially downtown Disney right behind me. So you can hop in and out of Disneyland parks all day, and that's the other cool thing that I really love about it. It's really convenient. Like, I'll pan over here, we have Disney California Adventure Park. I'll pan over here and we have Disneyland Park. I hope I didn't pan too quick. Hope you guys are motion sick after that. But as you can see, there's just a lot going on in a small amount of space, which we love here at Disneyland. So the next tip and trick when visiting Disneyland Park would be to make sure that you buy your park tickets in advance. Now, this is gonna be important for a couple different reasons. First and foremost, it's going to allow you to make sure that you grab the right fit ticket, and that will allow you just to save time once you get here to the parks, right? So you can just pretty much go straight in. You also still have to make park reservations at this point in time, but I think really, taking it one step further, what's really, really important too is that you get the right fit ticket, and that will essentially allow you to save money, right? So you don't end up buying, let's say, a park hopper ticket if you don't plan to park hop. You get whatever ticket you really need. It gives you a time to do some research, and then if you do save time and you get to the parks and you can come straight in, you have more time to come and pretty much hang out with Mickey and Minnie once you get here. So another tip and trick when visiting Disneyland Park, if you're looking to get out of the hot California heat, if you're visiting in the summer, if it's just a little too hot or you want to catch a break, come to the Main Street Cinema on Main Street. So essentially they have a bunch of old school Mickey Mouse cartoons going on in the background, but there's a couple different benches back there, a couple movie posters on the wall, just a good place to kind of get out of the heat, relax a little bit before you go back and go on your favorite Disneyland rides. So another important tip and trick when visiting Disneyland Park, and there's definitely a lot going on behind me, but we would say be prepared for this. Specifically, be familiar with the different types of rides. So there's actually over 30 different rides and attractions specifically in this one park, right? So when you start comparing it to some of the Disney World rides and parks, you can see there's a lot more going on here than there is over at some of the other Disney parks. So be prepared, definitely come up with a park plan, definitely have a list of the rides that you have to get on before you get here. and then your day would just go that much more smoother. All right, so another really important tip and trick when visiting Disneyland Park, and we would say be familiar and be prepared that there's not fireworks every single night. So this might be different for guests who are coming from, East Coast over to the West Coast, right? Because of the situation, because of where Disneyland parks are actually situated in a residential community, they can't do fireworks every night. So typically what we find is they'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but that can change. So you definitely have to do some research before you get out here, especially if fireworks are something that your family loves and a big part of your family vacations. All right, and taking that fireworks tip and trick one step further, another cool thing that I will say is be familiar with the wonderful world of color over in Disney California Adventure Park. And what some families can do, if you can move pretty quick, if you can walk like a New Yorker, what you could do is you could actually check out the fireworks here in Disneyland, and if you have that park hopper ticket, you could try to make it over to Disneyland California Adventure Park for the second World of Color. Now, it's important that they do have to really be running, 2 World of Colors, which they do sometimes throughout the year. So again, you have to do some research, figure out what times they're doing fireworks, what times World of Color is, and then take advantage of that if you can, and if you want to also. So another important tip and trick to understand about visiting Disneyland Park is specifically during those holiday seasons, so Halloween and Christmas, right? So Halloween, what surprises a lot of guests is that Disneyland doesn't actually have the Halloween event. It's over in Disney California, and it's Oogie Boogie. So this event is extremely popular. Go watch our Disney California Adventure Park video if you are interested in learning more about that. But if you're coming for Halloween, just be prepared, especially if you're used to Magic Kingdom and Mickey's Not So Scary. They do not have an event here in Disneyland Park. Now, that's not saying that they don't decorate for Halloween. There's going to be a ton of full decor. It's going to be very festive, pumpkins everywhere, right? So you can definitely still come to the park and enjoy the Halloween season, but there is not a special ticketed event in this park. Now, moving over to Christmas. Disney does it right for Christmas here in the parks. They deck the halls throughout the entire Disneyland park. The other really, really cool thing too is that, instead of a special ticketed event, you could pretty much come and you can enjoy the Christmas parade, you can enjoy some Christmas fireworks, you can really get into the festive season without having to buy an extra special ticket like you do have to do in Walt Disney World. So just be familiar with the different holidays, be familiar with how they celebrate specifically here in Disneyland Park, and have a great time. So taking that holiday tip and trick one step further, as we got a lot of action going on in the background, one of the cool things that guests can be familiar with if you are visiting during the holiday season is the candy canes in Disneyland are a hot commodity. So they actually hand pull and make the candy canes inside of the park. So can't guarantee that you'll always have trouble getting your hands on these candy canes, but word on the street is you're gonna have trouble getting your hands on the candy canes. So guests actually come and they arrive early. So, and sometimes they even do like a ticketing system in order to even have the chance to buy the candy canes because they do sell out. So if your family loves candy canes and if your family just loves candy in general, you're gonna enjoy the candy here at Disneyland. But if you're coming for the holidays, just be prepared, do a little bit extra research if you wanna get your hands on some of those famous candy canes. All right, so another important tip and trick when visiting Disneyland Park is to be familiar with the Disneyland app and specifically be familiar with mobile ordering. Now this is specifically very, very important for Disneyland. I keep comparing it to Disney World because there's just so many less sit-down restaurants in these parks. So quick service is just that much more popular. Now I've got some people saying hi in the background. So be familiar with how the mobile ordering works. It will save you time throughout your day. Essentially everyone can pick out what they want. You pick a window. When you're ready to go eat, you say, hey, I'm here, and Disneyland prepares your food. Be familiar with it and enjoy it in the parks. All right, so another important tip and trick when visiting Disneyland Park. I don't know if you guys can see behind me, but we do have some characters. We have Wendy and Captain Hook interacting with some guests. Be on the lookout for characters throughout this park. Now, more so than over in Disney World in Florida, you'll just see characters kind of out and about, available for photo opportunities, but keep your eye out. There's a couple different places throughout the park. This obviously is one of them. And then of course over in some of the other areas of the park, you'll see Captain Jack Sparrow over near Pirates of the Caribbean. Over in the front of the park and Main Street, especially in the morning, you'll see Mickey and the Core 4, right? But just there's a ton of characters in both of these parks, so keep an eye out for them. Another really, really cool tip that kind of ties into if you're coming around the holiday season, so Halloween and Christmas, specifically if you have people in your family who love character meet and greets, all of the characters will have specific, festive outfits. So for Halloween and for Christmas, and I even heard that they might have some different outfits this year for Christmas, so we'll just have to wait and see. But again, it's really, really cool, something that's so unique. And the other cool thing is you don't need a special event. Like I said, there's not a special event ticket. So you can come, you can interact with the characters, have a bunch of different outfits throughout the years. All right, so I'm taking advantage of the characters behind me. Another great tip and trick for visiting Disneyland Park is there are several nights throughout the years. Now, I know we don't do special ticketed events for Halloween and Christmas, but there are some special events here in Disneyland Park. Some of them that come to mind, they're going to be Pride Night, Star Wars Night. They do Sweetheart Nights around February for for Valentine's Day. But those are the special ticketed events at Disneyland. Now, tying it into the characters, the other really cool thing is during those events, the characters again will have special outfits, tying into everything going on that night. So really, really cool, and something that's very unique to Disneyland Park compared to some of the other Disney parks. So this next tip and trick for visiting Disneyland Park is again going to be a huge shout out to all my families who are coming and they're used to Walt Disney World. You actually can get Dole Whip here in Disneyland. I'm actually walking into Adventureland right now, and if you are a Dole Whip fan and if you're looking for that special treat, come over to Adventureland in Disneyland Park. So I don't know if you guys could see behind me, but another great tip and trick for Disneyland Park is to keep an eye out for live music. There's live music going on really at both of the parks, in Disneyland and over in Disneyland California Adventure. I'm gonna probably talk about it in the other video as well, but we just had some singing pirates walk past us. Just keep an eye out throughout the park, especially if you're a music lover. You're gonna really enjoy it here. All right, so another great tip and trick for visiting Disneyland Park. As you guys can see behind me, depending on when you watch this video in the future, this might just be open. So we have a couple new things coming to the park. Behind me is gonna be Tiana's Palace, which is a brand new restaurant that is opening here in Disneyland. And then of course we do have Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is going to be replacing Splash Mountain. So if you are planning a trip in the future, if you're coming to Disneyland, just keep an eye out for some of the new things that are going on within the park. So another great tip when visiting Disneyland Park, if you are visiting with a large group, go ahead and take advantage of the Disney Popcorn Bucket. Now these are extremely popular on both coasts, but of course the Disney Popcorn Bucket allows you to grab a bucket that you can refill for less of a charge essentially. So it's a great way to snack with a large group, to snack on a budget. The other really cool thing about the popcorn carts in Disneyland is they're geared towards the actual land that they are in. So we're in New Orleans Square right now, and as you can see behind me, we got a different theme going on, but that's just another great tip to take advantage of. All right, so another great tip for Disneyland Park, and this one is so unique and specific to Disneyland Park. So if you came out on vacation and you might have skipped the gym this morning, but you still want to get a nice little workout in, come to Disneyland Park and check out the canoe ride right behind me. So I don't know if you guys could see, but they're legit canoes, and they'll essentially be taken out on the river, and you're gonna canoe your way around, and you'll canoe your way right back. But it is a great workout, but more importantly, it's really, really unique, like I said, and something that's really something we couldn't leave off the list, right? The first time I saw this and I was helping guys plan vacations, I was like, oh my God, like, is this a real thing? It's 100% real. The other caveat though that I will say is that it only goes on during certain times of the year, so be sure to look into that, especially if you have your heart set on doing this. So another great tip when visiting Disneyland Park, and this one I guess is really for both parks, so we would say make sure you download the Disneyland app well before you get down here. And now this is important for a couple of reasons, but in this particular one, what we're really thinking about is I just did a little tip and trick on the canoes right behind me, but the canoes are not always open here in Disneyland. So a lot of the other rides too might be going through refurbishment, or they might just be down. So you want to be familiar with that. You want to be prepared for when you get into the parks, and downloading the app and just being familiar with the app in general will allow you to do that. And you'll see, especially if you're upgrading to the Disney Genie Plus, which we're talking about in this video, you'll need the app for that. Of course, you'll want to link your tickets. You still need those park reservations at this point in time. So get as familiar as possible and definitely download it before you get down to California. Okay, so another tip and trick when visiting Disneyland, and I'm guessing you could probably see behind me, but we would say be familiar with this park, but specifically be familiar that Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is within Disneyland. Now again, this is very, very different from Walt Disney World, where Galaxy's Edge is over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Here it kind of throws some families off, right? Also from a planning standpoint, right, Disneyland Park's gonna have a lot of rides for young kids. However, over in Galaxy's Edge, of course, we have Rise of Resistance, and then we have Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. Not saying those aren't for little kids, but not typically what you would think of when you think of, right, Disneyland rides. But just be familiar with that. Take advantage of everything else that is here within Galaxy's Edge, and have a great day. So another important tip that's so unique to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland is specifically for Oga's Cantina. So if you have not been able to make a reservation, from our experience, we have had good luck doing walk-up, essentially through the My Disneyland app, which we will probably talk about again in a little bit regarding dining. But check it out. You can try to get a last-minute reservation for Oga's. I would say try to get, and it's crazy, but try to do it first thing in the morning, all the way up until noon, and you'll have pretty good success. It's not ideal, right? Start drinking that early in the morning, but they do have coffees, they have juices, they have a bunch of different creative non-alcoholic drinks, right? Not judging if you go for it as well, but also, again, if you just want to experience Oga's, in our opinion, that gives you the best opportunity to do it if you don't have a reservation. All right, so another great tip and trick when visiting Disneyland Park is to possibly consider upgrading to the Disney Genie Plus. So we've talked about this in both videos now, but specifically, we really feel like the Disney Genie Plus does work a lot better in Disneyland in particular, right? It actually does what it's meant to do, and that is to get you on the rides a lot quicker. What I will say is that you do have to look and you have to pay attention to which rides are actually included, because very different from Magic Kingdom, let's say over in Walt Disney World, there are only select rides that are included with the Disney Genie Plus. One in particular that's not, that might impact how you rope drop or how you kind of tackle the parks, is going to be Peter Pan's flight over in Fantasyland. So if you are visiting with young kids, definitely be mindful of that. But overall, we just feel like the Disney Genie Plus should be on your radar, especially if you're only visiting for one day and you're trying to get onto absolutely everything. We do believe that it will help you do that. So another important tip for visiting Disneyland Park, as we're out hanging in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, is to give some thought to how many days you actually want to spend in Disneyland. Now, I would say that the benefit of Disneyland over, let's say, Walt Disney World, I keep saying, I'm pretty much every tip I'm comparing it to Walt Disney World, right? But the benefit is that it's a lot closer and you can get a lot more done in a shorter amount of time. My honest opinion on Disneyland Park is it's a 2-day park, right? Can you do absolutely everything in one day? The park, in general, Disneyland is open a lot later than typically Magic Kingdom is. It's open till midnight at the time of the recording of this video, which is summer. It's probably not open that late during the off-peak season, but right now it's open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock at night. If you're coming on a day like that, then yeah, you might be able to get absolutely everything done. That's a very long day though. I don't know if I could handle a day like that at this point in time. So if you want to avoid, and you want more of a laid back vacation, I would suggest at least 2 days. Again, when you compare it and you look and you go over to Disney California Adventure, I would say that's really a day to a day and a half park. This is 2 days, so as you can see, you could pretty much get both parks, absolutely every ride and attraction done within 4 days. I think that's pretty cool and something that's very, very, attainable for a lot of families. Okay, so this next tip and trick for visiting Disneyland is for the guests who might have been to Disneyland in the past, however, you have not been back in a while. Don't sleep on the updated Mickey's Toontown. So we also have a new ride, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, right behind me, who the Disney World vets will know if you've been to Hollywood Studios within the past few years. However, Mickey's Toontown has completely been redone and it has some amazing new things going on. So if you haven't been to Disneyland in a while, be sure to come on back and check out everything new that's going on in the parks. So another very, very important tip for visiting Disneyland Park is to get to the fireworks section early to grab a great spot for the fireworks. So essentially, I'm right near Cinderella's castle. This, in my opinion, is one of the best spots. I also love being on Main Street, specifically because for Disneyland, for the fireworks right now anyway, they actually light up Main Street, and Main Street is a part of the show. They also light up It's a Small World, and there are different areas of the park that also will be lit up during the fireworks. Small World, I've heard some good things about watching the fireworks from back there. I've also heard some bad things though, that you can't see the entire show, but you can also see the fireworks from some areas right over near Big Thunder Mountain. In general though, I would definitely arrive early if you are, if you have your heart set on grabbing the perfect spot. And so that is it, everyone. Those are the best tips and tricks for visiting Disneyland Park. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you picked up a thing or two that you can use on your next Disneyland vacation. And if you are in the process of planning a Disneyland trip and you need a little additional help, just be sure to go check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all again so much for checking out this video. And until next time, I will talk to you soon.